right? It's like, no more mushrooms, no more this, no more porn. Don't look at other women's cleavage. Don't look at another woman's butt. You know? Stop looking at these images. It's like constantly this nagging in my mind. Do this now, come back to bed. What the fuck do you mean? Come back to bed. I just got out of it. Come back to bed. It's like, smoke now and then go back to bed. It's like, what the fuck? I mean, you know, that's what a real wife is like. I mean, she's just gonna want you all the time. And I'm not talking about, not every woman is like this, but the tiny ones certainly are. Like, I would suggest big women, maybe it just depends on the spirit. But it's like with big dogs, right? I mean, they're a little bit slower. You know, they're gonna, you know, it's gonna be like, you know, in that sense, I'm a small spirit, but I'm packed with a punch, right? I'm not punching other people, but I assume I could if I wanted to. You know, I'm not weak. What I'm doing, you know, you cannot be weak to do what I'm doing. And I want my woman to be the same thing. And I believe she is. But I'm still constantly going back from, I want you, I hate you, I want you, I hate you, I need you, no, I don't need you. It's like, this is a constantly ongoing battle. And I'm trying to find relief from this madness of being dragged back to bed. Because this is where you can connect. Like if I lie down and I close my eyes, you know, I cannot resist her then. You know, that's when she has me. And she can be like, over me. I don't know how that works, by the way. I just figured it out. You know, I was asking myself, you know, why am I always in bed these days, you know? You have to smoke now. It's like, what? You have to smoke now. What do you mean? You know, you have to go back to bed. You know, this just sounds like gibberish to most of you, unless you know what I'm talking about. I mean, if you've ever been away from your wife and you actually paid attention to emotions that are there, or if you've been away of other people and you feel so worried, right? And you just want to call home. That's not your worry, man. That's just theirs. Just let them worry a bit. You know, just stretch it out a little. I mean, just fucking think about it. These times are super crazy. You know, my mother is still telling me stories that if she would go on holiday, you know, she would send a postcard that would possibly only arrive after she came back. Or she went to holiday for 2 weeks and then she called once. Well, that's what she's saying anyway, right? You don't know. Maybe she kept calling home, who knows? Maybe she's just trying to act cool. But so you know, what's that all mean? Blech. A lot of shit has to come out. You know, that's why I also do these hikes. So I can just get stuff out of my system. Because when I'm at home and I'm in this kind of, you know, bare animal, I'm not sure how this is called anymore. Like these states where you simply cut yourself off from your environment. That's what I do when I'm at home. And I mean, you can understand how this is actually advertisement. A barefoot dude with a beard, with a lumberjack shirt, with a hat, and bare feet, I already said that, and a GoPro or an action cam. May just call an action cam a GoPro. You never know, right? Because this ain't advertisement. I'm not being funded to do this. Otherwise, I would probably make sure to just say certain brands all the time. And then you think, yeah, maybe you're a really sneaky advertiser. No, because you get money for how often you say these things. And I never actually confirmed what kind of action cam I have. You know, it's like certain brands of tissues just get marketed so well that suddenly everybody, instead of saying tissue, just uses the brand's name. And that to me is simply a trap. Because I'm not a fucking billboard, if you know what I mean. Right? I'm not a fucking billboard. You cannot plaster me with your insignia. You know, it's like a signal of ownership. You know, I own you. You are mine, the Emperor. Did you know? That's roughly the way I see soccer players these days, or Formula 1 drivers, or basically anyone. They're just billboards. You know, it's like... And then you hear the kind of shit that Red Bull gets people to do. I mean, have you heard of this stuff? How far they push those... Like, you have to think how somebody who wants to do extreme sport feels. He just loves the adrenaline. You know, he loves driving around in like untouched snowfields. You don't want to know how many die in avalanches. I'm just saying that. There are people that you simply never find again. And there was a video of a ski driver somewhere. He was filming it. He had a camera on top and he was walking, he was skiing, and there was a snowboarder in front of him. You just barely saw him, and then he vanished. And then he went to paddle him out. Of course, there's always the question, but you know, he just probably got stuck, fell back, or some snow fell on top of him and he was gone. I mean, he was like completely covered in snow, and he only had, let's say, maybe 30 seconds, 20 seconds forerun. And that's how fast the snow can swallow you up, just like that. And I mean, it was Michael Schumacher. Let's just stay English. Michael Schumacher. Yes, it was Michael Schumacher and Christopher Reusch. Reusch, that's what they're gonna say. Well, apparently his name is Christopher Reusch, and he's also known as the Barbarian Lunatic, and well, apparently he's quite adaptive. He can produce art like a machine, and you know, he's gotten a lot of credit for changing art styles and feeding a lot of platforms with his presence, although people are still, as of yet, uncertain what he's actually saying. It's like, wait, is this guy a terrorist? Is he actually just making fun? Why is he posting middle fingers? You know, why does he have such an evil grin? And what's the deal with these bare feet? Well, he can just fucking do it, man. Right? He can just fucking do it. And he chose to do it, and he's still doing it at the cost of doing other things like partying out with people. Because you don't go and party out with people anymore after a while, if you realize why people actually do that. I mean, I've had my times at the bar partying, but I can't say I really enjoyed that. It was always this, it was kind of pretense. It was like I was just trying to blend in. You know, I was just trying to get a girl or something, but I was never really honest about it. You know, so quite probably I was a sucker. You know, I was a runner for love, and I'm still a runner for love. I feel empty today, I go to the Boulder Hall.
You know, I could be alone in the forest, hiking in solitude, deep contemplation. But I'm going to the Boulder Hall to connect with women. You know, I'm such a fucking awful person. I talked to you about my wife. I don't actually take that seriously. No, that's just shit for me. I mean, it happened, you know. The way I see it, I was just teaching someone a lesson. Why? Because she took a piss on me. Like, she pretended like she liked me, and then she just dumped me. I mean, and I dumped her, of course. I mean, I think there could be love, but I'm not overly like, oh, I love you so much. I feel that all of this, what I said, is real, right? I feel like all of this is very real. That I actually feel like her spirit is trying to keep me in bed, you know, to like, ah. But it's just disgusting. Because if you just stay in bed all the time, you're just gonna get weak. If you just want to fuck, and there's nothing actually you have to say, you know, I'm fucking out of here. I mean, I've been with women like this. And the last one, I made sure she's never gonna ever come back for me again. And you see how trapped I am in these stories. And so I just want to see what this is about. You know, I'm not waiting for a woman anymore to come and rescue me. You know, I'm just gonna go and see who's out there for me. Because let's just think about a hero journey. You know, what's the hero's mission? What's the hero's job? No, there's then Job, 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 Job. That could be a song. It already is. You know, now we can take it and you can just like Job, 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 Job. I'm experimenting a lot. That's why I listen to Chris Webby, because he does have a nice flow that I've never heard before. And the clarity with which he's able to pronounce the words. I mean, this guy is constantly singing tongue breakers. And I think that's actually what rap used to be about. And then you get people that do mumble rap, which makes no fucking sense whatsoever. Because you just have to... I mean, you don't need any... How do you call that? Oral prowess. I mean... You know, you don't have to worry about sucking cocks of people that take hormones. Because they want to get back to being, you know, I want to be a woman. Or you were born with a penis. You must be a man. It's an extinguishing feature. You know, that's Monty Python. I really want to do such things, but I just don't know anybody that could do it with me. Maybe I can just do it on my own. I'm doing it already, mate. You know, what are you on about? I mean, that's your life. You've created this. Now you have to fucking sit it out. It's like, what? What do I have to sit out? You have to fucking sit it out. Oh, wow, the joke's back. The joke is back in the room. Where is all this energy coming from? When I ate a lot of bread? Well, so did I. And I just had to crap a lot. Yeah, I mean, you have to really dig for this shit. I mean, for this shit, you have to really dig to get this out of your system. To feel free about being a bit stupid. You know, I'm at home for a couple of days and I'm just like zero, flatline, right? It's like doot, 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 beep. This is how I am when I'm at home, and just literally I'm flatlining myself. There's just no excitement, there's just no happiness, there's just like I want to have sex, but you can't.
You have to do this now. Work harder.
You know, I was literally being chased out of bed by an angry spirit telling me,
you have to work now.
It's like, fucking hell. You know, I did this for 20 minutes. And then I went back, sat down, rolled a joint, listened to some Chris Webby, and I said, fuck you, evil spirit. Yeah, and you could say Chris Webster is an evil spirit because his music can only help you if you listen to what he's really saying behind the words. What's his message? His message is basically, no, I'm a fucking great guy and you're an idiot. I'm a fucking great guy and you're an idiot, you know, I'm fucking pissing on you. And he's like jabbing you with a sword. It's like slash left, slash right. No, that's the way he raps. He literally spits venom. And if you are unaware of that, he's going to poison you. So when I listen to him, he fills me with anger. And the anger helps me to work. But I'm also angry at myself because I hear the stories that he's talking about, how he's having sex with a lot of women, or he used to anyway. I assume at one point sex will always get boring. If that's the only foundation of your relationship, you know, you got together and the sex was great. It's like, that's what I want for the rest of my life. You know, it's like choosing one movie for the rest of your life, or one meal. You're gonna fucking hate it. And then of course you can start loving the hate. And then it turns back into love, or it just adds to more hate. No. That's for you to decide, of course. That's for you to decide. You know, and then I sit at home like this, but I cannot share it with anyone. You know, this is the suffering I have to keep in myself. I cannot share this while I'm suffering. You know, I cannot be like, you know, I'm just sitting there and I just feel like, you know, because there's like, I hear things, then memories pop up. It's like childhood. You know, sometimes I sit there, I'm watching Avatar, and while I'm watching Avatar, The Last Airbender series, you know, I'm being told, you know, these spirits are trying to help you, man. Yeah, I get that. It's a bit much. It's like, you know, at this stage as a child, you know, no problem. I would just sit there. And now, it's like this message, you know, see yourself as Aang, see yourself as Sokka. Who are you in this series? Are you Aang or are you Sokka? What are your abilities? What's your nature like? You know, Sokka is just like, you know, I want to eat meat, thack, head off, you know, and then he's just gonna roast it on a stick, and Aang would be like, oh, the poor fishy, the poor fish, which is exactly how I feel like. So, you know, how can I pretend that I have no problem with eating meat if it actually makes me feel very sad? And the really interesting thing is that when I grew up, I was never ever being told that, you know, there was anything else but eat meat, you know, and do what everybody else does. Everybody was just kind of being lumped together as this kind of the mob, yeah, which always fills me with a bit of distance, to say the least. To me, the mob is this bulk of people. It's like, you know, car. That's basically what this is. I mean, everybody's driving around with a car, and then in your head it's gonna start saying, you need a car. So if I walk around and I wear a shirt with a certain brand on it, and somebody else is gonna see it, and I present the shirt well, because that's also what it's about. It's not just about having a car. You know, you also have to be able to present it. But what you don't understand is that the fact that you have an expensive car, you know, I mean, what else could there be said other than, well, it looks a bit like a status object for me. And that's true. You know, my feet are my status object. You could say that. But it's also not really true, because, I mean, yeah, sure, I mean, if you do it for a while, you will get pleasure out of it. I mean, I've had moments where I literally was using one of these old school scooters, and I was going down a mountain, like paved road, and because it was made of aluminium and the brake is also made of aluminium that you then press onto the tire, and that means that it will get really hot really fast. I mean, like blazing heat. And because I realized that, I'm not sure if I ever actually tried it. I might have tried once and realized, oh, that's getting hot. And then I just put my foot, you know, I was just doing sometimes like this, and then I did like this to brake, because there's no other way. Basically how you would brake on a skateboard, only you have a handle. And I really liked this scooter, but it was taking the edge off. I think that's how you could say it. I was under a lot of pressure. And that certainly boosted me through the city. But at one point I just felt like, you know, time's over for this. I just want to take my time doing something else now. And so I'm not always entirely sure what I'm supposed to do. So now you've seen me play Crash Bandicoot, you've seen me play Super Mario Brothers. I'm still planning on playing Oddworld Apes Odyssey, but to be honest, this book is so huge. Like, so huge. But I also like to introduce different kinds of material to simply keep it from getting too boring. And I mean it, because if your life becomes repetitive, I mean, that's hell for me. Alright, it's not just the repetition, it's also if you've got too much change. So I'm trying to introduce little bits of changes in my everyday routine. So today, for instance, I drank no coffee. No, I did not drink a coffee. I drank one yesterday with cacao, and I may drink one again tonight, and then keep working on that book, or possibly play Oddworld Apes Odyssey. And if I keep going like this, I can actually maintain this pace of recording content. But the way I feel is that I also have to, right? It's like sometimes you have to ask yourself, how far into the future am I to push this channel? Am I supposed to push it until next year in August? And then I have, you know, a lot of time, basically 1 year. Well, that's just now an idea, and now I have to concern myself with this. How far am I going to go with this? Because now I feel like it's a good time to simply keep building it up. But the problem that I have is I feel like, you know, I'm afraid, you know, I feel that I'm uncertain whether that's the right approach. I'm uncertain because, you get into this kind of, you get the feeling that people are gonna get sick of seeing you, you know, doing the same kind of shit all the time. But at the same time, of course, if it's kind of, if there is a certain security, you know, new content will come, then people will also be less reluctant to watch it. You know, when they know this person keeps producing, you know, you can start to follow. And that's what I'm driving at, of course. You know, but it's also the only thing that I can do, apparently. Because I hate working for others. Right, in the way that they think I should work for them. I can only work for people in the way that I want to work for them. And, you know, I'm basically working by constantly asking myself what my job is and then confirming it through action. You know, sometimes I have to look first. Do I really want to go to the boulder hall? Is this my job today? I mean, I've secluded myself. I feel weak. I start becoming like an office person, and I don't want that. So, you know, I'm just gonna go barefoot to the boulder hall in a 1-hour hike, and I'm going to crazy. And I'm going to record myself in 4K, which makes no sense. It just keeps the videos a little shorter. Right, it's like 852 or something. And in that way I can also introduce change. And I can introduce change in recording the footage in a different format. Right, I can choose, you know, 4:3 instead of 16:9. I mean, that's one way of doing this. But still there remains the question, if I go to the boulder hall and somebody would ask me, do you want to work here? Or could you, you know, I think I would honestly have to decline, because I'm so occupied. I mean, you don't know how it's like when I'm alone at home. I mean, you only see me when the camera's running, because if I would record this, it would be fake. I cannot let myself sink into a depression and figure out what it is about if there's a camera running. And that's why, you know, when I feel shit about writing in that book, you know, I simply turn on the camera and suddenly I'm writing. And that's how I can communicate, you know, with whoever is out there in the future. And I can simply keep going. And that always keeps the fun in the room, because when the camera's running, it's hard to feel really miserable. You know, you at least make sure that you can manage to smile a little. But that's a challenge I feel like I'm still trying to figure out. It certainly is a challenge to stay positive when you're a content creator. And the point I was trying to get to is, why am I, you know, I say I don't make advertisement, but I'm advertising actually this place. Because it's there, it exists, and I think it helps people to connect and to work on themselves. So if there's anybody from the vicinity of Lunatic, you know, feel free to spend some time here. Because, you know, some people, they're so sucked into their comfort zone and, you know, buying weed or having a Netflix account. I mean, you could cancel your Netflix subscription and just go bouldering. You could cancel your Spotify account and just start making music. I mean, by now you should have listened to enough music to know roughly what you like. And then you can just start channeling it into your own project. Just to make music and feel more at peace. You know, I'm trying to do that. But I also realize I'm not a rapper. And I listen a lot to rap at the moment, but I'm more like a lyricist. I'm not a rapper. But I don't think rap was rap. You know, wrap around. You know, you're trying to wrap your mind around things and then you put it into words. And what it turned into is just this kind of angry cage fight. And that's why Chris Webby is nice to a certain degree, sometimes it's just too much chicks and bitches and Adderall. I mean, just fucking let go of it already. I mean, apparently, this is like his lover, right? You know, when he wants to fly, he takes Adderall, which is weird. Because it's about, you know, it's supposed to be about ADHD or something, which is supposed to be medication for when you cannot concentrate, I think, because you're like, So Kletterwelt Sauerland. I think that's all you're gonna get from me. That's the place. So what happened with my parents, you know, they pay my apartment plus 120 euros. I see that as compensation for what I do on the spiritual realm, which is the truth. And if you know something about energy work, you may also know how much effort it takes to do that kind of work and to push it through. And I'm just here to remind people of that there are things like sadhana, to simply work for the people, and then eventually you will get something back. And that leaves me at the point of no return, which is now I have to go in because somebody saw me standing here. No, I wanted to go anyway. I just want to have a look at the scenery. I always feel a little bit awkward, but once you see some children, you actually realize, you know, I'm game. I mean, that's beautiful. I could have just filmed this for 1 hour, but I think like it's nicer to have me in the image. Anyway, maybe I'm gonna go back to what I want. What did I want to say about my parents? Oh yeah, because they pay my apartment. I think they thought I would kind of really worship them or suck up to them or change something, you know, start sorting myself out, becoming, you know, what they think to be a kind of righteous young man. But I'm already, you know, I'm not, oh shit. I'm not righteous, I'm not leftist, you know, I'm just who I am. And I'm a bit afraid I may meet someone, but that's always a possibility, of course, and that should not stop you. Yeah, we never give up on the ones we love. I need strength, some training.